It's Tuesday, the 19th of November, 2024. Welcome to the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Good morning, Michael.
Sean, 5 stories to get through in 5 minutes. Let's go. Story number 1, cash, it seems, is not dead. In fact, it's not being allowed to die, with Treasurer Jim Chalmers saying the government will mandate that some essential services keep accepting cash from customers.
Groceries and fuel providers, for example, they'll have to accept cash if the consumer wants to pay it. 1.5 million Australians still rely on cash, and Dr. Chalmers said the government wants to make it an ongoing feature of our economy, even as we modernise the payment system. 94% of businesses still accept cash, 99% a few years ago, so you can see that it's going in a direction that the government doesn't want it to go. Debit cards now account for about 51% of payments, according to the Reserve Bank. Credit cards are at 26%. Cash is at 13%. Cheques are part of the rest. Now, they're being phased out, though Dr. Chalmers said that will take a long time. Banks have to accept them until 2029. The opposition finance spokesperson Jane Hume says the idea may well raise costs for business, although I've got to say, I had a look at the Reserve Bank website, that doesn't seem to be the case.
Just quickly staying in politics, Sean, the federal opposition and Greens are set to join forces to vote down the government's plans to cap international student places at 270,000 from next year.
They're coming at it from very different directions, according to media reports. The coalition says the bill doesn't go far enough. It wants bigger reductions. The Greens, they're worried about job losses across the education system. Labor wants to cap new international students at 270,000 starting from January 1 next year. Universities are not happy. They've already been knocking back applications. As it turns out, that legislation may not pass.
I know we kind of squeezed 2 stories in there. It's a bumper story, so you're going to get really 5.5 today. Yeah,
excellent.
It's like the Fast 6.
Good.
Story number 2. Sean, the Prime Minister Anthony Albanese was due to meet Chinese President Xi Jinping overnight at the G20 Leaders Summit in Brazil and call for more backbone from global leaders around conflicts in the Middle East and Ukraine.
Mr. Albanese was expected to say that the conflicts are the key drivers of hunger, poverty, higher inflation and higher energy prices. It's the third meeting between the two since relations between Australia and China started thawing. I'm sure they also discussed the threat posed by Donald Trump to free trade. He, of course, has threatened 60% tariffs on Chinese goods, up to 20% on Australian goods. Probably also talked about regional security. That seems to be the key irritant in the relationship between the two countries at the moment.
Story number 3, how about this? The share price of Resolute Mining tumbled 5.5% yesterday after the miner agreed to pay $160 million to the Mali government, which has detained CEO Terence Holohan and 2 other key executives.
That's about 250 million Aussie. They'll pay half now, half later. Resolute said all outstanding claims by the Mali government relating to tax, customer levies, maintenance and management of offshore accounts are now settled. There's also discussion in the ASX statement about a framework for further detailed discussion regarding the long-term future of the operations in Mali. Not clear exactly what that means, whether or not the Mali government is pushing for a stake in Resolute. It has a bit of a track record of doing that with other gold miners from other countries. Mali's ruling junta came to power in 2021. They've used ransom-style techniques to force mining companies to renegotiate contracts. At this point, Resolute is working very hard on releasing the CEO and the other 2 executives.
Story number 4, broadcaster Alan Jones was yesterday arrested over allegations of indecent assault and sexual touching between 2001 and 2019.
The 83-year-old was taken away in an unmarked police car and charged with 24 offences against 8 victims, including 11 counts of aggravated indecent assault. Police carried out a search warrant on his unit in Circular Quay in Sydney. The Sydney Morning Herald has previously published a lengthy investigation detailing multiple allegations of indecent assault. Several men accused him of preying on them while he held positions of power as a teacher and a broadcaster. He's previously denied any wrongdoing. New South Wales Police Commissioner Karen Webb yesterday said detectives had been working on the case for months. It was complex and protracted, she said. The former 2GB breakfast show host reigned for about 35 years. He won 226 rating surveys. He had enormous power, not just within New South Wales, but federally as well.
Last one, story number 5. Sean, Rolls-Royce is in early stage talks with potential commercial customers for its planned micro-nuclear reactor, which is a technology that it hopes, I love this, will also power space missions.
Yeah, so a director of Rolls-Royce told the FT that the company was exploring opportunities to deploy the reactor across data centers, miners, and remote communities. Rolls-Royce, I think of that more, cars and aircraft engines. Well, it wants to capitalise on its own nuclear expertise. And with global interest in smaller reactors growing quickly, the company believes there's a business case for micro reactors for both terrestrial and space applications. Compared to small modular reactors, which are seeing demand from technology groups such as Google to deliver low-carbon electricity for data centers, micro-nuclear reactors use different technologies, much smaller power output, and they're very small. The compact size means that they're transportable. Rolls-Royce began working on the technology for a micro-reactor 3.5 years ago. It was working with the UK Space Agency to study how nuclear power could be used as part of space exploration.
All right, there we go. The top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Michael.
It is Tuesday, the 19th of November, 2024. Remember to hit follow on the podcast. And if 5 minutes isn't enough, you can find our longer daily show called Fear and Greed, wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed. Have a great day.